Hey everyone. So this is annoying. I am re-recording what I've already done for you. I have limited time to do this, which is super annoying. I apologize that the the lecture I posted had no volume. That's like really stupid and annoying. So that was my fault. No, it was not my fault. The same program, I don't know why the microphone volume, the volume was at zero, meaning the microphone was on, but the level of recording was at zero. So I had to like go in and figure that out, which was I never had to do before. So I apologize. And I also apologize because this video is gonna be shorter. I don't have the time to record the entire thing that I did before, and with all my personality and jokes. I mean, I had some great jokes. God, they were killer. But I had like 10 minutes though. I have like 10 minutes because I had to record videos for curriculum night for the high school and blah 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 blah. But I did want to make sure that I did this because there are some people who've emailed me some questions, and I realized they need some verbal explanation. So, okay, here we go. So I really want to talk about essay one. Essay one is going to be 1,000 words minimum. You're gonna have MLA formatting, and there's gonna be one outside source quoted or summarized, preferably quoted, in your paper, and you're gonna have a works cited page. Okay, we're gonna do this all in chunks, so that I'm gonna instruct all of this stuff. Okay, so I know we haven't talked too much. I'm gonna talk about the source right now. We're gonna do the quoting next week, and then we're going to work on the works cited page next week as well. So for this essay, you will pick a topic of personal interest to discuss. You will begin by writing a short, I whistled through my mouth, a short 1-paragraph narrative and a little anecdote. It's called an anecdote. When you just have a short story that's in a paragraph, we call it an anecdote. You'll write an anecdote about the topic, and then a paragraph defining the topic, and then discuss an example of it. And then you're going to conclude with a discussion on why this topic is important. Okay. And why it's important to you. Make sure we understand that. The topic you discuss should be personal, since you will have to draw upon a personal experience. But you will also be using 1 to 2 outside sources to discuss your topic. The essay should meet these minimum requirements: at least 1,000 words, MLA formatting, all that stuff I just discussed. Now, when I say personal, I mean like it's a personal interest. You, as I told a student who emailed me, you can write an essay about serial killers, and I'm gonna hopefully assume you're not a serial killer, and your little anecdote shouldn't be about serial killing or singularly killing, because I will have to turn you in for that. But it could be about, your little anecdote could be about like first time that you came across this crazy topic. Are you sitting with your parents, and on the news came the arrest of Jeffrey Dahmer, and you were like, what? And your parents were like, oh, he did some crazy stuff, and you're like, what? And your parents were like, yeah, it was awful, and you're like, what? And then blah blah blah, and how this really opened up this interest in murders, and then just because you found that fascinating, not because you desire to do it. So then you went to the library and you got this book on serial killers and blah 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 blah. Okay, so I mean, yeah, you might be a little twisted because you like serial killers, but you don't have to be a serial killer to want to write about this. Okay, your personal little narrative, your anecdote, doesn't have to be you doing the topic in which you are writing about, but it could be about the first time you learned about it or experienced it. I mean, you could write about the Holocaust, and you could write about the first time you learned about the Holocaust. If anyone ever read Educated by Tara Knowles, I think is her name. No, Knowles. That Tara Knowles is from Sons of Anarchy. Tara Westover. Westover. She writes about how she never learned about the Holocaust until she was in college. College. And so she writes this whole narrative about her asking this question about in her college history class about what is the Holocaust, and people thought that she was joking, but it was because she was homeschooled and her father homeschooled, meaning she wasn't actually schooled at all. She worked in a junkyard that her father owned, and that her father did not he purposely did not tell her all this kind of stuff. So when she asked, "So what's the Holocaust?" in her history class, people thought that she was telling a joke, and she got reprimanded by her professor. So that'll be her story. That could be her anecdote about the topic of the Holocaust. Okay. So your personal experience does not have to be actually doing or experiencing the topic, but it can revolve around learning about the topic, knowing about the topic, that sort of thing. Okay. All right. So we're going to have 4 weeks to do this assignment, do the full essay. This week we're writing an outline. You're picking a topic and writing an outline. Next week we're doing a draft. The week which is when I'm gonna go over quoting and inserting a quote. The week after that, we're gonna talk about editing papers, and then we'll be talking about. Then you'll have time to submit your paper, okay, to edit it. So 4 weeks. Decide on a topic, research a topic, write an outline with quotes. That's all next week. I'm sorry, that's all this week. Week 3. You're doing it this week. Next week is when you'll be writing the draft. 5, peer editing. The writing lab. I'm plugging the writing lab now. I'm gonna plug it some more. There's a link on our Blackboard page that talks about free tutoring. The writing lab is great. Take your paper to the writing lab, and they'll help you edit it. They'll sit down with you. They'll go through it and talk about all your little grammatical errors, and you can learn how to fix those errors. There is no class in college that goes over grammar. We just don't do it. So you go to the writing lab and they will teach you grammar. I was an English major, but I had terrible grammar until I went through the writing lab. And the writing lab instructors teach you how to properly write your essays. Okay? So you need to do that. And then week 6, you're finalizing and submitting the essay. This is how your essay should flow. This is based on the outline that I posted. Okay? Your introduction should be your anecdote. Begin telling a story of yourself experiencing the topic or learning about it. If I'm a big fan of Stephen King. Really like Stephen King, and my anecdote that I would tell would be about how I was 7 years old. It's a Sunday night in the summer. I remember it very well. Actually, it might have been spring break. So I remember I was out of school that whole week. Sunday night, my cousin and my sister were watching the Miss America contest. And then someone was anointed Miss America. And then it ended. And then the TV was just on because back then you just had the TV on. And the next thing that came on was the miniseries, the TV miniseries of Stephen King's It from like 1990. And it came on and I just started watching it. I'm like, what is happening? And it blows my mind. And looking back, I probably shouldn't have watched it at the age of 7. I probably right now I showed it to my kids, but they were like 10 and 12 when I showed it to them. So, but that ignited my real interest in Stephen King. Okay, so I might tell that anecdote about watching that show. Body paragraph 1 is the definition. This is where you talk about the term and you find a source that talks about the term and you explain it in your own words and with a quote. The quote doesn't explain all of it. You have a quote, but you use your words to really talk about what I could talk about what makes a Stephen King book a Stephen King book. These are the characteristics of all Stephen King books. All of them have these, a lot of his books follow much of the same formula. I've read like 20 of his books. So I could talk about my term is not an official term. My term could be Stephen King books? What makes a Stephen King novel? Okay. Body paragraph 2 is exemplification. So if I was writing a Stephen King paper, my anecdote is about watching Miss America, or the adaptation of It. Body paragraph 1 is about what makes a Stephen King novel a Stephen King novel. Exemplification would be like, here are some classic stereotypical Stephen King books. And now I would say things like It and The Dark Half, Carrie, the quintessential ones, the ones that are like uh, Pet Cemetery. Okay, these are, and then I wouldn't just it's not just listing, but I'll explain why those are good examples of Stephen King's books. They all have main character who's a teacher. Blah 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 blah. Okay, and then conclusion is a reflection. Why do you want to talk about this topic? And then I could talk about how I connect with a lot of his books as an adult because generally he keeps reusing main characters who are teachers, and I'm a teacher. It's nostalgic because it takes me back to my youth. It is it's comfortable. I'm used to it. I can just it's not a story. You're just explaining now why it's important to you. Okay, you can pick one topic. What makes a horror novel? What is beauty? What is the good life? What is the best fitness routine? What is trap music? Okay, pick one, and these are possible. You come up with your own topic. Come up with your own topic. Doesn't have to be uh, any of these. Okay, but it needs to be personal to you, something that you find interesting. Okay, so listen, your source has to be a professional writer. Okay, it's not a dictionary. You cannot use Wikipedia, dictionary.com, online encyclopedias, Fox News, CNN News. No, it needs to come from a writer who is writing to a general audience that's posted on any of these websites. Okay. So online, I've already posted I posted a sample. I have 5 minutes. Oh my God. I have 5 minutes. I'm sorry, y'all. I hate that the original one did not record. Ugh. Okay, but I'm gonna open up this outline. Outline template. Okay, so let's say I'm writing this. I'll put my fake name up here, Smith. My mother's maiden name. Okay, Elliot Smith. Oops, not Smith. Okay, all that stays the same. It's a title. Stephen King. Stephen King style. All right, anecdotes. The time I was 7 and accidentally watched the TV miniseries presentation of Stephen King's. I can't type when I'm trying to rush it. Okay, that's it. That's all I need to do. My term. Stephen King novel. Okay. I have figured out the novels have some of the same characteristics. Okay. Main character is either a writer or a teacher, or at least works with college age people. Okay. Takes place in a small rural town. And then blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is me. Okay. Then I'd find a source. I would go to the internet and I would do something like Stephen King books characteristics. And then I would wait till I find a source that, nope, not a good source. Okay, Vox. Vox is on the PowerPoint. I'll read this. Okay. Let's say I read this by Aji Romero. And I find a quote that I like, okay? So let's just say I find a quote that I like, okay? All right. And I don't have time to like really find one in real life. But let's just say I was like, let's just say I wanted to use this quote. Copy the quote, go to my outline. I would paste the quotes, and then I would go back to my source where I got it from. Hey, Annie. I've copied the quote, the source address. I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna come back to it later. When I write my actual essay, I'll be able to quote it and cite it. I'm gonna use EasyBib. I'm gonna show you how to do that all next week. Okay, my exemplifications, the books I'm gonna talk about are 11, 22, 63. I want to talk about The Dark Half. Gotta talk about It. Okay. And then they are nostalgic for me. And I can relate to a lot of the characters because they are just normal people. Like not the crazies, you know, but the regular characters I can relate to. All right. Boom, and now my outline is done. That's my outline. I just did my outline in 3 minutes for you. Is that not crazy? So the same thing from y'all. All right, it's the same thing. That's what you're doing. That is what you're posting. I'm gonna save this as another example, and I'm gonna post it for you. Outline template, uh, example 2. Okay, that's all you're doing, y'all. This is it. Okay. I'll talk more about the writing of this essay. This essay is going to be very informal and personal. Okay. All right. I'm sorry that was cut short. I hate the fact that you couldn't hear my voice from before. It's just the way it is now. This one next week will be better. All right. This is a little short, and some of you might be okay with this. Some of you are like, Myers, you talk too much. Shut up. This is all I want in a lecture is 10 minutes. Boom, boom. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. All right. I'll see y'all later. Uh, peace out. Bye bye. Au revoir. Hasta la vista.